We've been covering pretty much, I mean, we skipped a couple, but episode by episode, we've been discussing WandaVision every week. And WandaVision had
Oh
episode
yeah,
6. This most recent episode, it was really decent. I was into
yeah.
it. What you think? What are your
It's so good.
so good?
Like everybody that was talking shit about it in the beginning, I was like, just wait for it. Just wait
Yeah.
for it. They gave us 2 episodes at first because they know that those first 2 episodes are gonna be people were gonna be like, I don't know.
I still liked it
At
too.
least,
Like
no,
I'm in
I
the
still
camp
liked it
where I
as
was into
well.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the whole Malcolm in the Middle
Yeah.
aesthetic, I was like, this is great. It's amazing. I love
Yeah,
it.
they did a really good job with the Malcolm in the Middle comparison when they took on that style of late '90s, early aughts type show. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they even had the camera work, like you had
Yep.
the zoom and the lenses and the kids talking first person. That little kid that plays Wiccan, the one that he's not the fast one, but the one that has kind of like the powers that are closer to his mom's. He
Right.
did a really good kind of Frankie Nunez impression. I feel like he was
Mm-hmm.
looking at the camera, just
Yep.
had the mannerisms down and everything of Malcolm in the Middle. It was great.
It's like mom and dad, they aren't fighting. They're just different.
Yeah,
I don't
they're
know.
just different. I don't know. And I love that they were playing PlayStation 1. I was like, that's appropriate for the
Oh, they
time.
were? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, they all had gray PlayStation controllers when the kids and Uncle Quicksilver were playing
Okay, let me.
PlayStation. We can kind of go through the episode here. There's some things I want to point out that I might jump to later on that happened in the beginning of the episode, but the intro was great. I loved it. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was interesting. It was a Halloween episode, so everybody was dressing up in costumes. And most everybody in the town were doing like royalty free type costumes, like Frankenstein,
Right.
skeletons, witches, ghosts.
Yeah.
But of course, the superpowered family were wearing costumes inspired by their actual comic book counterparts, which I thought was cool.
Yeah,
And
that's really cool.
Vision had something to say about that. He came downstairs and he was a little snarky. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, it's not like I could have dressed in anything else because you removed all my other clothes." Did you catch that little
Ooh.
jab?
No,
And
I
she was
didn't
like,
catch that.
yeah, she had a little side look like, "What the fuck did you just say?" And he just moved on really quickly. So, and then he had another jab where he was like, "Well, I made plans today." And she's like, "But that's not." He's
Right.
like, "And I'm going to go out and do this instead." She goes, "Okay." Now,
He's like, what?
clearly,
What am I supposed to be doing?
yeah, right? What am I? Yeah, he basically called her on it. Like, is there a script, honey? She's like, "Well, I'm not going to say that."
Right.
So instead of hanging out with the kids and doing the first Halloween, he said he's going to go out and do Halloween patrol. And her brother steps in and is like, "Hey, man, you need a father figure for the night. You need a chaperone. I'll be
Yeah.
that
I'm
guy."
Francis.
He did a really great job in this episode too, by the way.
Yeah. Hmm.
Pietro was awesome. And so him and the kids are going around pranking people and having a good time. And there were moments where Pietro was kind of acting like he knew what was up. I mean, even from the first point that he showed up, you know what I mean? But in this
Yeah.
episode especially, it's like he knows the score completely, right? And
Yeah, but
what
at the same time, it's like, does he? And does anyone
yeah,
involved? It literally just, I have theories, and then I watch the next episode, and then it completely like wipes them away. I'm like, what's going on?
right.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, because she finds out that Vision's not doing what he says he's doing, and the other guy, I can't remember his name, but there's two people. There's Agnes and this guy. He was dressed as Frankenstein in this episode, but he was the one cutting the hedges down into like the fence, the brick. They both seem to kind
Hmm.
of be self-aware a little bit, and they're like,
Right,
we don't talk about it. While everybody else, like, you have to snap them out of their days.
right.
And he was like, "Do you want me to change something or fix something for you, Wanna?" And she's like, "No,
Hmm.
I'm good." So I think that's
Right,
interesting, but you find out that Vision's like going to the outskirts of town and seeing that the world is literally breaking down. Like all of the people are like doing the same action back and forth. Like a woman's trying to pin clothes on a clothesline and she keeps reaching up to it, but then coming back down and then reaching up to it. And then further out, they
right.
just stopped completely. They're not even moving. And
Hmm.
so that little joke that Wanda made in the last episode was like, "What do you think? I'm walking everybody's dogs, mowing their grass, taking them to dentist
Right,
appointments." It's like, in the immediate radius, maybe, but as it goes further out, you don't really have the power to do that, apparently.
right.
And at one point in the episode, of course, they shoot to outside of the hexagon, and Rambo and Dr. Darcy and Agent, is it
John
Agent Woo?
Rambo.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
A Monica Rambo.
Monaco Rambo. Not spelled that way, though, and not that one.
Right.
But yeah, they're arguing with the director of Sword because of the bullshit he pulled in the last episode. And he kind of pulls a little bit more sarcasm out of them, so he can be like, "You're all off. You're all off. Soldiers, take them away.
Yeah, get him out of here.
Get him out of here." And when they get out to the outskirts, they kind of subdue the soldiers and sneak back. And Dr. Darcy's doing her hacking stuff, and she's like, "The director's got these firewalls up, and I think he's up to
Yeah,
something, and he's
some
only
fishy's
tracking
going on.
Vision, right?"
And I think he's Mephisto. No,
He must be Mephisto. No, but she's like,
right.
he's only tracking Vision, and Rambo's like, "Well, we got to get back in there." And she's like, "You can't. Your blood's getting all fucked up. You kept going in and out, and he's done your blood work. Your cells are breaking down. They're reconstituting." And she's like, "I've had enough
Yeah,
cell talk for a lifetime." I think she's probably
yeah.
referencing her mom.
That
Oh,
was
go ahead.
weird. That was a weird line.
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
thought so?
it just the way it came off was weird. Like I understand what they were doing, but it's like no, she's literally had some shit talking about your cells right now. We're
Yeah,
not. I understand that you haven't come to terms with your mother's death yet, but you legit have these scans of your cells, and your cells are fucking up.
well,
And you're like, whatever,
here's
whatever.
here's the way I took it. She's a hero that's trying to go into action to save her friend, and someone said your life is on the line. She's like, "Fuck my life."
Yeah,
That's kind of the way I took her attitude. And yeah, she did mention something about cells, and she could either be talking about Carol Danvers, right? She could be talking about Captain Marvel and how her cells were
hmm
altered, right, by the explosion.
right.
Or she could be talking about her mother and her battling cancer. Whatever it was, she used that line to throw in a personal, "You know what, I don't care." But really it was, my life's on the line, but it's always on the line. Who gives a shit? We got to do
Right.
this. I got to go
hmm
be a hero. That's the way I kind of took it.
Yeah, she finna get them powers,
Yeah, she
though.
fit to get them powers.
Yeah,
So we'll look out for that. They're creating a lot of superheroes because the kids are coming in
they
their
really
own too
are.
with the powers. Like I said, you got Wiccan who was wearing his little costume just like in the comics, and then his brother who was
hmm
just as fast as Quicksilver. It was good times.
Yeah.
And
Now my thing is, I'm trying to figure out if these kids are actually real. Are they going to continue to exist once this is all over? Is it like, oh my God, the show just has so many questions
yeah,
and literally no answers yet.
I think it is. I'm starting to kind of put a picture together about the director and Wanda. I feel like maybe Wanda was in on helping them with some sort of project, and the director was doing a project maybe to create superpowered individuals because of the snap and how afraid he is of it. Remember, he had that big speech about, "You weren't there for 5 years and what it took to keep the
Right.
lights on." Um,
hmm
and they had Vision's body, and she knew exactly where it was. And it looked like they were going to use Vision's body to create maybe something. And she found out.
Yeah.
She was like, "Nope," and she took him and kind of fucked off.
Nope.
Right. But again, I think she was approached or seduced by something that is like enabling her to do this, and that could be the connection to the multiverse. But then you have Quicksilver acting extra sus. Like Quicksilver was like, "How are you doing all this?" You
Yeah,
know?
the kids are a nice touch. Where were you hiding them?
Yeah, were they just
Like
asleep this
what?
whole time? And let's not talk about the moral implications of that. She's like, "I don't really know how I'm doing it." And he was really curious. And I thought it was really interesting when she looked at him, and for a slight second, he looked like dead Pietro. And the thing is,
Yeah.
he still didn't look like the actor that originally played him in the Marvel movies. He looked like the same
Right.
actor playing him in Fox, but he looked dead.
Right.
That to me
hmm
tells me that maybe he is not really dead, and neither is Vision. She's just imprinting her trauma onto them. And somehow Vision and Quicksilver have been like, Quicksilver, I feel like was either tugged from a multiverse, or maybe he's a spy like a Kree
hmm
because they can shapeshift, and
Right.
they have access to a multiverse and are using the version of Quicksilver that they found. I don't know.
Right.
It's so
Yeah.
confusing.
That's a lot.
And so I'm just still trying to figure out, okay, is it Kree? Is it aliens? Is it
Is it
Mephisto?
Scroll?
Is it
Is
the
it
multiverse?
Mephisto?
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. It's something big though, definitely. And then
Yeah.
one of the
But
most crazy parts. You want to talk about Agnes?
yeah, so Vision on his way to find the outskirts of the Hex
Uh,
sees Agnes in her car. She's dressed up like a witch and she's just stopped and she doesn't know what's going on. And he releases her. He touches her head and releases her mind and
uh,
she's just like talking all types of nonsense. She's like, "Vision, you're an Avenger. Oh my God, please help us. I don't know what's going on." And then she starts cackling like a witch. And then he's like, "Okay, this bitch." And then he turns her back.
what I
And I'm
thought
like,
was, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
is she act? I'm like, is she acting? Is
Hmm.
this for real? I
Hmm.
don't know. I don't know. This show's mystery is they're crafting a really good mystery.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We know that she's aware of what's going on because she's talked about, do you want to do that again? She's talked about the script. She's seen them use their powers from almost jump. And
Right.
she's been kind of around, and we've seen her be self-aware and talk to Vision and other people.
Hmm.
So when he comes up and kind of zaps her head like he did with his friend at work, and she's like, Vision, you're Avenger. Can you help us? And she's like, am I dead? And he's like, why would you say that? She goes, because you're dead. And then
Right.
she starts kind of freaking out and laughing and stuff. I do think that was an act, and I think it was her telling him what he needed to hear to kind
Yeah.
of continue to try to investigate, right? He kind of zaps her back, but I feel like she was kind of hamming that up. And I'm still
Yeah.
suspicious of her. Yeah, Agnes is up to something because she's always acting sus. Even like, do you remember in the beginning of the episode? This is something I wanted to bring up. In the opening, she's bent over in the fridge, and on her butt is written "naughty,"
Yeah.
which obviously is kind of playing to her character, but it's like she up to something. I don't necessarily know if she's a bad guy anymore. I originally thought she was a bad guy, but now I'm wondering if maybe she's as caught up or as manipulated as Wanda is, but just knows a little bit more about the manipulation, and she's worried that if she rocks the boat too much, she'll get attacked or get Wanda hurt. So she's
Right.
leaking clues to Vision. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah. That's what I'm feeling this week.
That's what I'm feeling this
But
week. Huh?
yeah, and then yeah, Vision straight up just breaks out of the hex. Well, he
Yeah.
tries
He
to.
tries to. He walks
And
out of the
it's
hex. Yeah.
literally starts pulling him back in piece by piece.
It tears his ass apart.
Yeah, and I was
And the
just
director
like,
and all of them are out there just
so
watching it like, oh, hey, check that out.
yeah. And then
Which
Darcy's like,
sucked.
"Oh, you gotta help him."
She ran up, and then they cuffed her to the front of a car. And I was like, oh,
Right.
guys.
And then Wiccan, which is their son, he happens to hear Vision in his head, like crying
Yeah.
out in pain. He's like, I think he's dying. And then Pietro says, "What? It's not like your dead husband can die again." And then she just straight up blasts him.
Yeah,
And that's the
she
last we
murks
see
him.
of him this episode.
I know. He got
So I'm like,
annihilated.
I was,
Like, he just,
I was
I think
like,
she
"Ugh."
threw him like 50 feet.
Yeah, and she just stops everything, stops everyone, and then
Hmm.
proceeds to extend the hex. And I was like, "Oh shit!"
Aggressively. Yeah.
Yes. And like everything starts like a helicopter gets caught in it, turns into a hot air balloon. Bunch of the sword agents get turned into clowns, and all of their equipment and stuff gets turned into like a carnival. Which I was like, this is extremely creative, and I really, really like what's going on here.
Yeah.
And
And they're all just running like hell trying to get away from it. I think the director gets away, and then Rambo and Agent Wu gets away. But unfortunately, Dr. Darcy is handcuffed to a car, and they leave
yeah,
her
she said,
behind.
"Oh fudge."
But she didn't say
Oh,
fudge.
good
She said
old,
the other
the
word,
good
the
old
big
fudge.
word.
She did.
She said
Right.
fudge.
Right. I said the other one, the big one.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the only other question there is who is this mysterious engineer that Rambo knows that's
Oh,
going to help her get
yeah.
inside the hex?
Right. She talks about
And
a
I'm like,
person
this
that
is
she
going to be
called.
somebody important.
You think so?
And if it's not, I'm going to be upset because they've foreshadowed it for 2 episodes.
Oh, they have, haven't they?
Yeah, so it's gonna be a big name. It's
So
gonna be a big name.
with her expanding the hex like that, I mean, it was already really difficult for her to control the area that she had. I feel like
Hmm.
it's going to be busting at the seams next episode. Things are going to come flying apart. Vision
Hmm.
already had his experience, and he's going to be like, he's going to have some words with Wanda. Quicksilver, that may come to a head
Right,
pretty soon.
right,
You know what I mean? Kids' powers are coming up now. Like, we're catching up to the now. Like, what is the next one going to be? Modern Family? Hey, hey.
right. Well, I saw in spoilers, I guess I saw an article that said that one of the
Oh, you know
episodes
what?
is gonna be
I don't want to know. I haven't
okay.
read about it, so
Okay,
let
good.
me be
Okay,
surprised.
all right.
But
But
yeah, I'm excited to see it.
yeah, I think by the end of the series, this whole hex thing is gonna blow up and go around worldwide, and then we're gonna get mutants that way. Because if it's changing Monica's cellular structure
Uh huh.
and giving her powers, then I
Uh
think
huh.
it's gonna give a few, well, not a few, but a lot of random people powers throughout the world, and then that's how we're gonna get our mutants, and not
Maybe.
necessarily through a multiverse.
Maybe.
I
Yeah.
think. I mean, I think that's a smart way to
Maybe.
go. It's another worldwide snap type event.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Or at least a large enough hex to get enough people in it to have. Yeah. So who knows?
yeah,
Very
we
interesting
will
stuff.
see.
Yeah. I guess we'll see. I'm excited. I think the
Yeah,
next one's gonna just be popping off. I mean, how many episodes are there this season? 8,
9.
9. So we have 3 left.
Yeah.
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 Whoo. I'm excited to see what happens next. I really am. And now I'm a lot more excited for Falcon and Winter
Falcon and the Winter
Soldier.
Soldier.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited for that.
I was kind of blasé
I
about
don't
it at
know.
first. I was just like, I don't know. These two guys, they were kind of funny in Civil War, riffing off of each other, but how long can that last? But I don't know. With
Right.
everything I've seen with this, I'm just super excited.